Hello, my friends. Welcome to me, your host, Christian Watson. It's always good to be with you guys here today. I'm angry, my friends. I'm mad. I don't like being upset. I don't like being angry. I don't like being mad. But when the truth is so often systematically besmirched and replaced by false narratives, replaced by categories, replaced by the rap sheet of an ideologue who desires to bend the wills of the society and bend institutions towards their beliefs. As Buckley would say, one who decides to immanentize the eschaton. I get mad. I was a party to a conversation in my literature class, and I will not tell you what class it was for, but I'll just tell you I was a party to my conversation in my literature class about broadening the curriculum. Because right now, the curriculum in that class primarily constitutes, as some would call them, straight, old, white men. And a lot of students take it to mean that since only straight, old, white men are a part of the conversation or a part of the curriculum, they are the ones who academia and institutions are validating and valuing. So the idea goes like this. Okay, since it's only been straight old white men, maybe one woman or one black person or one gay person in the curriculum, why not broaden the curriculum to include more gay voices, more black voices, more female voices, more whatever identity voices? You just insert them, you'll have the same arguments. The same exact arguments, no matter what. You just insert any characteristic there that is marginalized, you have the same argument. Now, of course, me, being the individualist that I am, and the thinker that I am, I say, well, you know what? I don't think that it really matters if there is a preponderance of white people, a preponderance of men, or women, or blue people, or aliens. I don't think it really matters. You know why it doesn't matter? Because the curriculum is meant to instill certain ideas into our heads, certain ideas before us for due consideration with our faculty of rationality. The curriculum is not meant to be an activist catalog. And guess what? For a great majority of history, black folks, we were not on the top. A great majority of history, we were enslaved. For a great majority of history, women were not on the top. They were subjugated beneath societal pressures. For a great majority of history, indigenous folks were not on the top. I mean, these are simple facts. These are not value judgments. They are facts. For a great majority of history, these folks were not on the top. But to try to correct that by putting people in the curriculum just because of their identity simply reinstates and refuels and empowers the ill that you're trying to correct in the first place. The fact is that identity was the moving force for most of colonialism and most brutal dictatorships. It was the moving force for De Soto, identity primarily, and the desire to enact a certain faith upon a group of people. It was the moving force for so much destruction and mayhem and chaos and a violation of natural rights throughout the course of history. Identity was the moving force. You do not correct that by making it an even more potent force in our modern day classrooms. But beyond that, I saw an even bigger flaw in their plan, in their idea. I saw the fact that they were reducing a voice's importance, or accentuating a voice's importance, primarily due to whatever characteristic they hold. Well, we need more black voices. What is a black voice? Thomas Sowell was a black voice. You're going to put him in there? I doubt it. Because Thomas Sowell would tell you putting him into a curriculum because he is black is a violation of every single logical step that you should take for good pedagogy. Oh, we don't need that, don't we? Is it really about incorporating black voices? Is it really about incorporating a mass scale of representation? Or is it about something else? It doesn't matter if a voice is a black voice. I want to know if that voice is a sane voice, a rational voice, or a bad voice. I don't want to learn about the ISIS papers, which was written by a prominent black scholar. Because the ISIS papers is full with a bunch of conspiracy theories about how Africans are oppressed by a white system and how homosexuality was invented to depopulate African communities. That's a black voice, but the skin color of the author tells me nothing about their ideas. The sexual orientation of the author tells me zilch, zero, nada about their ideas. The gender or sex, sex these days, the sex of these authors tell me nothing about these ideas. Susan B. Anthony was not great because she was a woman. She was great because she took a stand on an issue that had to do with her identity being put against her. The idea that you're going to put a marginalized voice, first of all, it stems from this social justice theory that every person who is not a white person, who is not a straight person, is marginalized. I don't feel marginalized. Well, Christian, historically, yeah, so what about history? This is not when you're in the classroom, you're not correcting the ills of history. You're studying them. You're trying to understand them. You're trying to engage with these ideas. But when you can only engage with ideas through the lens of race or identity, or you are bound and shackled to a paradigm which does not allow you to learn as much as you possibly could learn, or does not allow you to engage in the fullest understanding of these ideas. There is a lot of daylight between Rousseau and Adam Smith, between Voltaire and Rousseau. Both white men, both straight, I presume, but there's daylight. And these ideas can help everyone of any color, of any creed, of any sexual orientation understand certain things, get certain things. But when you say, oh, Rousseau and Voltaire are both straight white men, therefore we need less of Rousseau and Voltaire, you engage in that same kind of fallacy. You reduce them to their characteristics and you forget the ideas. Academia these days is forgetting ideas. Academia these days is more worried about being activists, being woke, and catering to certain sensibilities that are not rational and that are not just. Academia these days is not at all concerned about teaching people. And so the logical conclusion of this wokeism in the curriculum is this. Can Chaucer, this was spiked, survive the woke purge? Managers at Leicester University have called for classic text, including the Canterbury Tales and Beowulf, to be dropped from English courses in favor of a decolonized curriculum. It makes me sick just reading that. It makes me want to throw up and puke in the faces of whoever would conceive that baleful, foul idea. Decolonize your curriculum. How dare you? How dare you reduce my educational experience to a particular era in history? How dare you take ideas from their proper station in the rational realm and put them in the minutia, in the political minutia of your little agenda? How dare you? It's the same mentality being played out in my classroom. The same mentality which doesn't care for ideas. The same mentality which sees history as something more than an oppressive line of occurrences against people. It's the same mentality, and I'm sick of it. At some point, my friends, we're going to have to ask ourselves, are we really worried about educating people in the proper way by getting them to engage critically with ideas? Are we worried about pushing a soft agenda upon them to correct what we think are injustices, or we think were historical injustices? And most importantly, does the classroom have the power to correct these perceived historical ills, which supposedly can be corrected through teaching people about them? And another argument is that, well, if you don't engage with black voices or gay voices or women voices, you don't have a very large curriculum. Look, I am fine with having women authors. I'm fine with having black authors. I'm fine with all that. I don't mind that. I want to have them, though, because their ideas are good, not because they're gay, not because they're black. I want their ideas to be good because I am not interacting with the person when I read a text. I'm interacting with an idea. When I read Descartes, I don't care about Descartes. I care about his ideas. I care about that Cartesian mindset. I care about that travel across Europe. He was so dissatisfied because of his education, so he went across Europe to understand, to cultivate the method. That's what I care about. That's what I want to hear about. I don't want to hear about who they were. I don't want to... This may not seem very systemic of me. I may not be making my arguments in the most logical way right now. I'm trying. I'm trying. I may not be very refined right now, but it has just been too many years of this stuff building up, building onto one of another. It is coming up, and it's boiling over right now, man. I have tried to be quiet about this. I have tried to softly push at this, softly talk about debate, talk about the critical race theory mindset in debate, softly. But I'm tired of it, man. I'm tired of us reducing so much of Western history, reducing so much of these universal ideas, reducing them to the people who were vessels for them. Heraclitus, he had a good idea. Heraclitus said, no, I'm just the vessel for the Logos. These ideas. You don't look at me. Look at my ideas. I'm just a vessel. Because each and every one of those old straight white men, they're dead. But their ideas live on. Tackle their ideas. Because guess what? When we all perish, our ideas will live on. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to restructure how we think about these things. History is not a record of oppression. America is not an evil country. Academia is not supposed to be a bastion for activism. We've got to stop. We've got to stop. And I will not let myself or people of my skin complexion be reduced to the historical ills inflicted upon them by ignorant, malevolent people. I won't let you or anyone else use that fact to try to, quote-unquote, help us. You're not trying to help us. You're trying to put us on your rap sheet, mark us off, so you can feel better about your woke agenda. Well, guess what? Your woke agenda does not correspond to truth, nor does it correspond to righteousness. Your woke agenda does not represent me, nor does it represent the millions of black conservatives around this country. It doesn't represent some of the most prominent authors in Black America, in the history of Black America. It doesn't represent Washington, it doesn't represent Saul, it doesn't represent the thousands of authors who preach against the fallacy of race. Keep that nonsense away from me. Anyway, my friends, that's it for today. Think on it. As always, please stay pensive. Bye-bye. Hey guys, if you enjoyed this message, please be sure to support my channel through PayPal. My PayPal is @officialcwatson, as you see on the screen. Any amount helps. Thank you so much, and stay pensive.